welcome back to my channel. It's Chantel, and today, don't mind me, I'm just letting my week, But today I'm gonna be I'm gonna do a story time actually about what I said in the last vlog. So if you ain't see that, I'm gonna put the link in the description, and then at the end of the video I'm put it so you can watch that first. Because this is a continuation of that. So the story time, what happened when I went there. So as you guys know, I went to Staten Island to visit my best friend or whatever back in this is in February, I think. All the way back in February, not far, not long ago, right? So I went to visit her in Staten Island, and okay, it's a lot of characters in the story, no cap. And honestly, the story spanned over the 2 weeks after. So yeah, I might split this up into 2 parts. I never know. I'm just gonna figure out when's the best time to stop. But yeah, so I got a couple characters that I'm gonna introduce you to. There's a backstory. So just listen for a second. Okay, so my best friend, we're gonna call her Bougie because she's bougie. And then the other 2 characters, alright? So we're gonna get into that when I get to that part. So I went to visit my best friend Bougie at her college or whatever, and it was a Sunday, right? So the shuttle don't run on Sunday, so I had to take actual public transportation, type shit. And when I took the bus or whatever, I low-key got lost, right? I left my house at around 12, but I still got lost, so I didn't end up seeing her till 6. Well, I'm capping 3 or 4. That's when I really got there, and I could have been there way sooner, but I got lost. I'm bad at directions. I got lost. I took the wrong bus, was going downtown into a terrible area. So when I finally got to the right bus, the bus took me how long to come. So I got on the bus, got to her campus, my best friend had problems with her roommate. So her roommate wasn't there the weekend. She lives with 3 other people, but the other 2 people, I don't know where they was, but her roommate that she shares a room with wasn't there. So I get to her, and I'm realizing that I'm hungry as shit. I'm hungry as fuck. The snacks I bought, I ate them on the way there because it was taking so long for me to get there. I was hungry. I ate them on the way there. So we're chilling. We're in her room. We're chilling. I'm taking photos. She's just laying in bed, type shit. We're bored. Well, I'm bored. I'm on my phone, but my phone is low-key dying. And I didn't think I brought my charger. I brought my portable charger and my cord. I didn't bring, the part to plug it in at the bottom, right? So me and Bougie are just, chilling, type shit. And we're playing around, just chilling, listening to music, stuff like that, taking pictures. So then she decides she wants to do a little fake fashion show or whatever, show her clothes and stuff like that. She's walking around, and I'm making fun of her, we're just mad dumb. So then she's like, oh, are you hungry? And I'm like, yeah, I'm hungry. So she gave me some cup of noodles, typical college life. We got the college got you broke, so we're eating cup of noodles, and we're we ate parfaits, and we were still hungry. No cap, we were still hungry. But by the time that we were hungry, the cafe was already closed. So it was whatever, we're just gonna stay hungry at that point, because anything else to eat would have to be thawed out, had to let it thaw out. And we didn't have enough time for that. I was gonna leave around 7 or 8, somewhere around there, so I could get back home at a reasonable time, because I told my mom I was gonna get back at a reasonable time, told her regular time, which is 11 or 12. So we're taking or whatever, and this goes back to a couple of days before. So she goes to college with 2 people I used to be friends with, 2 of my other ex-best friends, and we're gonna call them Pringles and Cotton Candy, right? So Pringles and Cotton Candy also go to her school, but they all have issues with each other, low-key. We all always had issues together, because it used to be me, Pringles, Cotton Candy, and Bougie. We all used to be friends. It was 4 of us. We all used to be friends. So she got issues with them, they got issues with her, but you know, they're still like friends. It's just like that weird type of friend. It's like the friend you got issues with but you can't let go of. It's one of those type of friends. So we're all like, so I talk to Pringles, right? I talk to Pringles occasionally. Like, I only talk to her about makeup and stuff like that. I don't talk to Cotton Candy at all because we had like a little falling out over the summer, like the summer from last year. So I stopped talking to her, and yeah, well, she stopped talking to me, but yeah. So we're like, she's like, oh, I'm gonna FaceTime Pringles you because you know you guys are friends or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool, because I'm like, we're not friends, but we're cool, we're cordial. Like, if I see her, I'll say hello. If she sees me, she'll probably say hello type shit, you know? That's what I thought. So we're like, okay, you know. So we FaceTime Pringle, and we're like, girl, she's like, guess who's here? And Pringles is like, who? And she's like, oh, Chantelle's here. So then Pringles is like, oh, she's here. And I wave, and I'm like, hey, what's up, sis? So then after that, Pringles is like, okay, I'm gonna come upstairs to come see me. So I'm like, okay, cool, you know, whatever. So all of a sudden, Pringles' phone dies, right? So we have to contact Candy. So then my friend Bougie's like, my best friend Bougie's just like, well, you know, Pringle said she was gonna come upstairs. You know, this is what she's telling Cotton Candy. She's like, Pringle said she was gonna come upstairs. Where is she? Like, what happened? So then Cotton Candy's like, oh, her phone died. She's not coming upstairs, but you guys can come downstairs. And Bougie knows the situation between me and Cotton Candy because I explained it before. So Bougie is just like, oh, we don't want to come downstairs because the visitor I know you don't like her, due to a prior conversation they had between Bougie and Cotton Candy. Cotton Candy told Bougie basically that she doesn't like me, she doesn't fuck with me. So I'm like, okay, cool, you know, that's fine. I don't really care. Like, I don't see her, I don't interact with her. It's fine. So after that, Cotton Candy's like, oh, just come downstairs. Like, I don't care. But then she asked who's the visitor. So then Pringle, no. And then Bougie was like, it's Chantelle. So then she was just like, oh, well, she can come downstairs anyway. I'm just vibing. I'm cool. Like, we're just all vibing. This is where the backstory needs to come in, okay? So I used to be best friends with Pringle and Cotton Candy, but we've always fell out and got back, you know? We always fell out and bounced back because they were my best friends. But it got to the point where Pringles and Cotton Candy transferred to a different high school than me, and they basically like left me out of stuff. Like, they would go somewhere and it was like, oh, you guys went somewhere without me. Like, we're all best friends, so I'm confused as to why I never see them. So it was just like annoying because it's like, you're always together and yet what about me kind of type shit. It's like, what about me? Like, I'm not gonna invite myself, but it's like, you would have thought that since we're all best friends, you would have invited me, you know, type shit. But I didn't really worry over it, and they transferred in like 11th grade or whatever. By 12th grade, we stopped talking altogether, right? So an incident had happened, and I apologized for the incident because it was childish of me, even though the joke was really funny, but it was very childish. So I apologized, you know, true fashion. I'm not gonna sit here and hold any grudges. So I apologized to them for me laughing at the joke or whatever. And then I just, like, me and Cotton Candy just completely like stopped talking. She held a grudge ever since then, I guess. And Pringles seemed cool. She accepted my apology. She appreciated it, you know. And I really thought that we were cool because we talked. Like, we actually talked. Like, we talked about our common interests, which is makeup. Like, I'd ask her what's good, and she'd ask me what's good. It's like, we actually talked. Like, I did a makeup look for Valentine's Day on my Instagram, which you can go check out. Yeah, it's not the best, but it's like a little mini thing I decided to do. And she actually commented on it, and she was like, oh my god, you pulled this off so nicely. So I'm commenting back thinking she's my friend, like, oh yeah, you know, like, this is like you could pull this off even better than me, da 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 da, because we both are into makeup. Like, that's our common interest is makeup. So I'm thinking we're friends or whatever. Like, I'm conversing with her as if we're friends or whatever. And you'll see why this was problematic. Okay, so we all used to be best friends. I fell out with Cotton Candy. I still talk to Pringle, but Bougie was my best friend. Like, Bougie also went to the same high school as them. They transferred after Bougie into the same high school. It's a pattern. Anyways, so we're at the dorm, right? And we're like, okay, we're gonna go downstairs to go see, Pringle, because Pringle's not coming upstairs. Her phone's dead. She's not leaving. They're having a lit ass time, right? Apparently they were smoking, whatever. And I didn't know the people they were friends with, because obviously I don't go to that college, so I don't know those people. So with that being said, we get downstairs and their friend comes out and is like, oh, who's this? Like, why? Like, because Bougie went inside and was like, Pringles, can you just come outside real quick? Like, because she knew that me and Cotton Candy did not get along, so just putting us in the room together was gonna be tension. It was just gonna be awkward. So she was like, Pringles can just come outside for a few minutes, This is where everything fucking goes to shit. So Pringle is like, okay, I'll come outside. Cotton Candy hops up like, nah, you're not going nowhere. Cotton Candy's like, if you leave out this room, we're no longer best friends. And mind you, she's screaming. So I'm outside of the door and I can hear it. So she's like, if you leave out this room, we're no longer best friends. Why would you still be talking to her? Da 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 da. And she's going off and she's screaming, and everyone's asking her what's the problem, because they don't know me, right? They don't know me at all. So they're asking her what's the problem. She tells Bougie, she starts yelling at Bougie like, why would you bring her here? You know I don't like her. She's so toxic. Like, she cuts us off and then she comes back, and I'm just like, I'm outside the door like, huh? Like, ma'am, you just said that we can come downstairs because you're vibing. Like, you said you didn't care if I came downstairs because you're vibing. Why are you yelling? Why are you yelling? Why are you yelling? Right? So she's like screaming at the top of her lungs. Like, so everyone's still trying to figure out who I am and what's the issue between me and her. I can only speculate what the issue is, because from my perspective, she had an issue with me. I didn't have an issue with her. I didn't really care for her. We just stopped talking. That was that. Like, she used me, basically. In my perspective, she used me. So I didn't really care for her. I didn't give a fuck. Like, I'm like, whatever. I don't care. I'm not here for you anyway. Like, I'm toxic. Okay, cool. Like, it was just whatever to me. So she tells them like, oh, I used to go to school with her, this and that, and she's yelling, and all of a sudden there's like a whole bunch of them yelling, right? I don't know what was said, but then they bring me out, then they bring me into the room, because they're like, you standing outside looks mad suspicious. So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, it's not my room, I don't really care. Like, there's like maybe like 5 other people I don't know. I only know Bougie, Cotton Candy, and Pringle in this room, and it's like 5 other people. I don't know any of them. So then they're asking me what my issue is with Cotton Candy, and I'm just like, who said I had an issue with Cotton Candy? Who said that? I never said that I had an issue with Cotton Candy. That's not what I said. I'm just here to talk to Pringle. Like, I'm just here to talk to Pringle. I don't know what all this drama is, but frankly, I don't care about it. I'm just here to talk to Pringle, catch up with Pringle, since we're cool, or so I thought. So they're pressing me, basically, like, oh, what's the issue? What's the issue? What's the issue? Meanwhile, as soon as I stepped in the room, Cotton Candy stopped screaming. So I'm like, are you scared? Are you scared, miss? Like, you were screaming when I was outside the door, but as soon as I step in, you're not screaming. So they're like, what's the issue? I'm looking at them. I told them straight up, I don't know what the issue is. I don't have no problems with her. So then she's just like, sitting there shocked, like, I guess, like, in some form of, you know, the problem. And I'm just sitting here like, I don't know what the problem is. So then they're trying to ask her, what's the problem? What's the problem? She can't say what the problem is with me. She can't say the problem she has with me. That's key information. So after that, you know, she's still threatening Pringle, like, if you leave the room, we're no longer best friends. And Pringle just gets fed up, and she's just like, whatever, and leaves the room with me and Bougie. So we go in the hallway, and there's like, we go past the lobby, and there's like a bench or whatever. So we're sitting down talking, and I'm trying to tell Pringle my situation that had happened with Cotton Candy, in which she stopped talking to me. It wasn't the other way around. So then she's just like, oh, well, okay. And then Pringle's like, I don't want to talk about this. So I'm like, okay, cool, you know, let's talk about other shit, you know. I'm not here to talk about Cotton Candy. I'm here to talk about Pringle. So we're talking. We're like, okay, what's been good with you, you know, stuff like that. Little, like, small chats. But, like, this plays a major part in the story. So we're talking, like, small chats or whatever, like, everything that has happened so far after we lost contact, basically. So then after that, they go back in the room or whatever, and we hear that Cotton Candy was still screaming. She got mad or whatever, and I'm just like, okay, this is enough drama for me. Like, I don't even go to this college. All of this drama, it's a Sunday. Like, I don't really care. Never really cared to begin with. Like, I just wanted to talk to Pringle. So they're like, okay, so a lot of the story has hearsay, right? I'm gonna get to the after. So I go to meet my best friend Bougie's other friend, right? So I meet her other friend, who's like I'm not gonna say she's a RA, but like she works for the college, right? She works on campus. So we go to meet her, and we're talking to her, and I'm telling the other friend, like, yeah, in my perspective, this is what happened. Maybe she has a different perspective, and that's fine. You know, I'm not really gonna force anybody to talk to me. I'm not really gonna force anybody to, you know, figure it out. I'm not gonna, like, sit here and mediate stuff, because honestly, I don't care. I live in Brooklyn. I don't live in Staten Island. This drama will not affect me. It's not gonna affect my schooling. I don't give a fuck. Like, I just don't care. Like, that's all I can really say about it for the most part. I just don't care. So her friends is just like, yeah, you know, like, maybe she just seen things differently. And I'm like, okay, cool, that's fine. But, like, no one was there to talk to her. She didn't have to talk to me. No one was forcing her to talk to me. Like, Cotton Candy just wanted to make a scene, per usual, in dramatic fashion. Me and Cotton Candy have the same zodiac sign. Mind you, we're both Libras. And her birthday is, like, a couple days before mine, right? So all of a sudden, Pringle appears while we're talking to Bougie's other friend. Pringle appears, and she goes upstairs because she's like, I need to get these assignments done. I need to do my homework. So we're like, okay, cool, whatever. Because we're in a different building, right? So we're still talking to Bougie's other friend, whatever, trying to, like, get her perspective on it. And I'm just like, well, I don't really care about what she says, because none of it matters to me as soon as I leave this college, you know, type stuff. So here's the part where I guess, like, all the hearsay that had happened, right? So when we went back to Bougie's, like, dorm or whatever, I was like, okay, I had enough drama. It's time for me to go. Like, I need to go back to Brooklyn. Staten Island is so ghetto. I'm never coming back. Like, I'm telling her, and she's laughing, and I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm never coming back. Because the entire time that they're yelling about how, the entire time Cotton Candy's yelling about how I'm toxic, and I'm this, and I'm that, Bougie never said anything. She didn't say anything. She just stood there. So I'm like, okay, because I understand Pringles and Cotton Candy are best friends, you know, type stuff. So naturally, you know, you already know whose side Pringles is gonna pick. But, like, Bougie just stood there and said nothing, didn't defend me or anything. So I'm waiting for the bus, you know, to go back to the ferry. And I'm on the phone with Bougie. So, right? So back to what I was saying. Yeah, so basically, me and Cotton Candy just did not get along. It was fine. So the hearsay comes in when I'm on the phone back to Brooklyn, and I'm talking to Bougie, and she's just like, oh, well, you know, they talked to her after, like, they pulled her back into the dorm room and talked to her, like, it was a group discussion of, like, why she's still friends with me or whatever. And Bougie's like, well, because she's never been toxic to me. Like, Bougie just told me that she defended me after I had left, right? So they're like, oh, well, Cotton Candy is upset because she just doesn't like, you know, me. So Bougie's just like, Cotton Candy tried to give Bougie an ultimatum, which was either she be friends with me or she stops talking to her or whatever. So Bougie's like, you can't prevent me from talking to my best friend, you know, type shit. So basically, she told me, basically what I was hearing was that Pringle was saying how she never really wanted to talk to me and that she was only talking to me because of Bougie's sake. And I'm just like, but you said you were going to come up. Like, you personally said you were going to come up. We didn't ask you to come upstairs. We just said, hey, look, I'm here. Like, that's all I said was that I'm here. Like, hey, that was it. I never said she had to come up. I never said she had to have a conversation with me, you know? She asked if she should come up, and we were like, sure, which we were unsure about letting her come up because we know that her and Cotton Candy were friends. So I'm like, if Pringle didn't like me, then what was the point of talking to me? Like, that was dumb. Like, that was a waste of time. Like, the whole situation is just very dumb. So she tells me, like, yeah, you know, when Cotton Candy told everyone else in the room that I was toxic and all this stuff, told whatever story she told them about me, whatever, one person in the room was like, oh, I should beat her up. So I'm like, huh? Like, you let me go in a room with people who previously, before I entered the room, said that they should beat me up. Like, so I'm looking at Bougie sideways because I'm like, you're a bad friend. Like, you let me go in a room to be ambushed about a problem I didn't even have. Like, let me go in the room to be ambushed. You had some random bitch say she was gonna try to fight me, and I didn't even know her. I'm like, you're gonna fight behind Cotton Candy of all people, mind you. Not saying that there's anything wrong with Cotton Candy, but like, she's not mentally stable, which is why I'm like, you're really gonna fight behind a mentally unstable person who one day knows what she wants and then the other day doesn't. Like, there's nothing wrong with being mentally unstable. There's nothing bad about being mentally unstable, but you know, like, it's just a constant switch, which makes it like harder to differentiate what's the truth and what's a lie. She most likely told a lie. So what I'm hearing, the story that she told them was that I'm a bad friend because the day I went to celebrate my birthday, instead of celebrating my birthday, because I share a birthday with my sister, I'm a bad friend because I decided to celebrate my birthday, me and my sister's birthday, instead of going to her birthday party. Huh? I'm a bad friend because I decided to celebrate my birthday, me and my sister's birthday. That's why I'm a bad friend. She said she invites me places and I don't go, so they stopped inviting me. You decided to celebrate your birthday on my birthday. I don't understand, like, why you thought I would be able to go when it's my birthday and I celebrate my birthday with my sister because we share the same birthday. Make it make sense, because it don't make none. Like, it don't make no sense. Like, she don't make no sense. So I'm like, okay, so you didn't want me to celebrate my birthday to celebrate yours. Okay, noted. So here's the part where me and Bougie stopped talking. I stopped talking to Bougie because after that, I felt like she just didn't defend me. She didn't have my back. I felt like she was low-key siding with them because she has her own issues with them, and basically to her, she was like, if I go against them, they'll make my problems at the school worse. And I'm just like, are we in college or are we in, you know, middle school? Like, who cares what they say about you? It's college. There's thousands of kids here. Make some new friends. Like, you'll be okay. Like, point blank, period. So after that, I'm just not talking to Bougie because I'm like, bro, like, you're a terrible friend. You didn't defend me at all. Like, she said she defended me after I left, but why wouldn't you defend me when I was right there? Like, I can't really verify if anything she said after I left was true or not. So, here's where everything kind of collapses. Like, okay, so I'm gonna give you a synopsis of the 2 weeks after that, right? So Bougie's begging for a second chance to be friends or whatever, and I don't like giving second chances. You had one chance, you knew what you were doing. When you messed it up, that's it, that's all. So I was talking to my ex, right? I was talking to him again because we are cool, you know. We kind of solved our differences. We are cool. So I find out, right? I get on Facebook one day, right? Because I don't use Facebook. I don't go on it often, like, at all. Like, I deactivate it year round and only go on it like one time per year. No cap. So I went on Facebook, right? This is the time that I was using Facebook. I used Facebook from January, or like from around November to February, around that time. So I get on Facebook and I see that my ex is interacting with Bougie. So I'm like, huh? Why are y'all interacting? Huh. So obviously I got an issue because me and my ex were like trying to work things out. You know, we're trying to get everything back together like how it used to be, because we still like had a bond, right? We still had a bond. It was just we had our own shit to deal with and stuff like that. So I'm confused because I'm like, why is Bougie interacting with my ex? Like, and I'm gonna say this right now. I have, I have, I'm not gonna say PTSD, but like it has happened before. Cotton Candy still talks to like my very first ex. To this day, they still talk. When I introduced Cotton Candy to my ex, my very first ex from like 2020, from like all the way back in like 2017, I want to say 2017, she still talks to him till this day. Why are you friends with my ex? Why are you friends with my boyfriend? It's weird to me. Like, I understand being respectful, I understand being cordial, you know, but like, why are y'all friends? Y'all weren't friends before we dated. That's the only way it just makes sense. It's like, if y'all friends before we dated, okay, cool, that's fine. Don't really care. But it's like, you make friends with them after we break up and then continue talking to them after I'm no longer friends with you. It's weird because the only thing they talked about was me. That was the only thing they had in common, was me. So I'm just like, okay, that's weird. So Bougie was talking to my ex named Jay. I'm gonna give him a name, right? She was talking to my ex named Jay, and I told Jay, I'm like, yo, why are you talking to my ex best friend? Like, straight up, why are you talking to my ex best friend? Because I don't like to blame girls in this situation. I like to blame the men because, you know, he's in the relationship with me or the situationship, and not the girl, you know? So I'm asking him, why are you talking to her? You know what she did to me? Because I called him the same night everything happened. Everything went down, and I called him the same night. I'm like, why are you talking to her? And he was like, I don't even know her. I just added her because of the memes, da 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 da. I'm just like, okay, okay. Because I'm like, I'm not finna be pressed about it, but it's just weird. Like, you you added her after I told you about everything that went down. It's just weird to me, right? So Bougie started talking to my other friend. We're gonna name her. We're gonna name her Nini. So Bougie starts talking to Nini, and I'm just like, yo, why are you talking to all my friends? Because like, Pringles and Cotton Candy had a habit of like, if you stop being friends with them, they would talk to your friends and turn your friends against you. They would basically snatch your friends. They would play snatchies with your friends. So I just got fearful because it's like Bougie exhibited behaviors that Pringle and Cotton Candy did, and she's friends with them. So it was like me being cautious, me being careful. I wouldn't put it past her if she did everything with an ill intent, you know, because her friends do things with ill intent. So I just wouldn't blame her if she did the same. So I'm like, since when you and Nene started talking? And she's like, oh, we don't talk. Like, I just joke with her, da 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 da. And I'm just like, you never started talking to Nene until after I stopped. Like, I didn't stop talking to Nene. I just wasn't on Facebook that much to really like talk to her as often because she uses Messenger and I'm not on Facebook, so I just don't have my Messenger activated, even though my account was deactivated, if that makes sense. Like, when you deactivate a Facebook account, you can still use Messenger, but I didn't have that where I still use Messenger. So I'm like, okay, but I get back on Facebook, all of a sudden you're talking to Nene, you're talking to my ex. Like, it just seemed like a very Pringle and cotton candy thing to do. Like, you can understand, like, that's a really Pringle and cotton candy thing to do. So I'm like, okay, like, you're being weird, girl, right? Now here's where some old shit comes up, right? So I'm not gonna say I was dating, but I had this guy that I liked, like, really, really liked. Like, yeah, I was figuring things out with Jay, but we were taking that really, 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 really slow. Like, really slow. Like, we didn't have our first date until, like, maybe, like, was it last month? Or, like, yeah, like, we took it really, 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 really slow because we hated each other. Point blank period. We hated each other. We couldn't stand each other, right? So I was talking to this boy named D, and I was talking to him like after me and Jay broke up. So it's a whole nother story in a story. So with that being said, I feel like this video is type long. So if y'all want to know the story behind J and D, let me know, and I'll do a story time on J and D and what happened between me, J, and D, and I'll finish. It'll make sense as to why I lost my best friend, because I feel like that second part of the story of J and D, also includes my best friend. So if you want to know like the actual what happened between me, D, and Bougie, and me, Jay, and Bougie, if you want to know what happened between all four of us, or all three of us, depending on the triangle you want to look at, let me know in the comments, because I was going to do story times about J and D anyway. But let me know if you just want to know, like, this, if you want the real life second part, which really isn't a second part to this story. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on all my social media down below. And yeah, that's it, you guys. I stopped being friends with a weird bitch. Like,